Of the many wrestling superstars who set foot in the ring, only a handful of them make it to the top and even fewer who are able to stay at the apex for a long period of time. The few who do make it are rewarded with the glory of championships, revered as one of the best, and some are even etched forever as legends, a testament to their ability, skill, and showmanship. So when it comes to these veterans, it would be very hard to imagine them pulling off a bad match, given the reputation they have garnered, pulling off great shows. But bad matches do happen to such wrestlers as well, whether that be before the apex of their career or after. Here in this video we will cover the top 10 worst matches of top wrestlers. This will comprise of wrestling matches of high-profile wrestlers who couldn't deliver what was expected of them, either due to their own fault or their partners, or even the match being lackluster for whatever the reason may be. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 10. CM Punk vs Big Daddy V, No Mercy 2007. This match did indeed take place before CM Punk came into limelight as one of the most well-known names in the wrestling business, but even considering the early days of Punk in WWE, we had to include this match, which took place between Punk and Big Daddy V at No Mercy 2007, held in Punk's hometown of Chicago, for the ECW Championship. Originally, the company had planned to continue the ongoing feud of Punk and John Morrison, but the WWE had to suspend Morrison on account of failing WWE's wellness policy. New opponents were sought for Punk, when it was decided to put the newly drafted Viscera in the championship picture. The match was undoubtedly one of the worst in Punk's career, as it lacked any proper build-up, sloppy in-ring work, and a horrible finish. The match lasted only a few minutes before Matt Striker, the manager of the big man, interfered, Punk winning as a result of his opponent's disqualification. Viscera would continue to beat up Punk after the match was over, but no rematch or feud between the two took place from there, the fans questioning why they were pitted against each other in the first place. Number 9. Matt Hardy vs Sammy Guevara, All Out 2020. Since its inception, AEW has always focused on building new stars. Sammy Guevara, considered to be one of the pillars of AEW, was one such wrestler the company had high hopes for, and thus decided to put him in a feud against the veteran Matt Hardy. It would not be wrong to point out that the feud was cursed from the beginning, once Matt getting busted open from a steel chair shot from Sammy prior to their match at All Out. The worst match in Matt Hardy's career would take place on AEW's pay-per-view show of All Out 2020, in a Broken Rules match, where the competitors took a fall through a table, Hardy's head however bouncing off against the hard concrete floor. Everyone watching was concerned with Hardy, as he seemed to have trouble even standing up at the beginning. But Hardy, being the professional that he is, finished the match, before he was taken to a medical facility, and thankfully nothing severe came from it. Even though no party was at fault here, given the circumstances of the match, we are positive that this is one match Matt Hardy would not look fondly upon. Number 8. Goldberg vs Lesnar, WrestleMania 20. Goldberg and Lesnar, the collision of two powerhouses, can undoubtedly sell out any pay-per-view and may look great on paper, but that was not the case when they had their match on the grandest stage of them all, at WrestleMania 20. The vibe of the crowd during the whole match was clear to anyone watching from home. The arena echoed with chants of "You sold out, goodbye" and "bullshit." Some fans in the crowd even waving the finger to the competitors. The match lacked any intensity you would expect from either Lesnar or Goldberg, and thus failed miserably to entertain the agitated crowd. The only saving grace of the match that assuaged the crowd was the stunners delivered by Stone Cold bidding them adieu from the WWE. Number 7. Jeff Hardy vs Sting, TNA Victory Road 2011. The most notorious match of Jeff Hardy came when he was at the lowest point in his life, according to himself, the match where he faced Sting for the TNA World title at Victory Road 2011. Their match was the main event of the pay-per-view show, with the world title belt on the line, although unfortunately for the crowd, the show would end on a bitter note. Jeff was under influence, so the match had to end as quickly as possible. To save face and prevent the curtains from falling off, Eric Bischoff cut off a heel promo through which he discreetly informed Sting about the whole situation. The icon ended the match as quickly as it began, and the crowd were left wondering what had happened. One fan had yelled "bullshit" after the match was over, and Sting was so utterly disappointed he replied that he agreed with him. Thankfully both competitors went away unscathed, but sadly Jeff has yet to overcome his demons, as per latest reports. Number 6. John Cena vs. John Laurinaitis, Over the Limit 2012. Big Match John had single-handedly carried forward the company for the better part of a decade. Throughout his career he has helped elevate other wrestlers to the forefront and even bury others. For this main event superstar, this match was perhaps better off not being the final match of the night. John Cena's match against Laurinaitis at Over the Limit was perhaps the worst match for the champ. The major part of the match consisted of Cena punishing and making fun of John Laurinaitis, with finally the latter picking up the win via help from the world's largest athlete, The Big Show. The match is frowned upon by fans because it didn't do justice as the main event of a pay-per-view show, with a match like CM Punk vs. Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship put before such a horrendous main event, left a bad taste in the mouth of the fans. Number 5. Ric Flair vs. The Ultimate Warrior, WCW House Shows 1992. When you think of a wrestler having a bad match, the Nature Boy would be the last person on your mind. Yet in his podcast Ric Flair had mentioned that his 2 worst matches ever were with the Ultimate Warrior. Both the matches took place in house shows under WCW, the first one in Winnipeg and the other in Phoenix, where the Warrior dropped Flair on his head, which according to the Nature Boy was the catalyst to his inner ear problems, resulting in serious vertigo which forced him to drop the title to Bret Hart. Flair's point proves that even 2 Hall of Famers in their prime can end up having bad matches against the other, which can be because of their lack of chemistry or compatibility. Number 4. Brock Lesnar vs. Cain Velasquez, Crown Jewel 2019. The WWE always tries to bring the biggest stars and to make the most ostentatious matches possible when it comes to the shows in Saudi Arabia. One such big draw was the Brock Lesnar vs. Cain Velasquez match held at WWE Crown Jewel. The match was hyped up by the fact that Velasquez had defeated Lesnar in UFC, and so this was Brock's chance at redemption in his own turf. Velasquez, however good of a fighter he is, proved to be not so good of a wrestler. Their match ended as soon as it began. This match was hyped up and had a good story going as well, but the match turned out to be disappointing. The fans expected to see the 2 fighters go at it, but the match lasted just about a minute before Brock defeated Velasquez with the Kimura lock. This UFC-style quick finish was not at all appreciated. It's also possible that the WWE were hoping to recreate a shocker like Goldberg vs. Lesnar. We think that the WWE is better off focusing on making good matches than just creating moments for their shock value. Number 3. Jerry the King Lawler vs. Michael Cole, WrestleMania 27. Vince McMahon has executed many of his over-the-top ideas successfully, and through his efforts and ideas, the WWE has become a monstrous franchise today. Although, his idea of pushing Michael Cole from commentary as the top heel of the company ended in complete futility. For weeks Michael Cole would show great adulation towards The Miz and even helped him secure victory against his partner in commentary Jerry the King Lawler, which culminated to a horrendous match between the King and Cole at WrestleMania 27, with Austin as the special guest referee. The WrestleMania 27 card itself was stacked with some bad matches, but the Jerry and Cole match would surely take the cake. The match was ugly to say the least. Cole couldn't execute a single move properly. The whole match, including all its segments, lasted for about an intolerable half an hour. Even with all that, it was Michael Cole who would end up winning the match. All in all, the entire feud was a complete waste. Stone Cold Stunners did help to liven things up, but he left in a hurry, because we bet even he was disappointed with how things played out. Number 2. DX vs. Brothers of Destruction, Crown Jewel 2018. Another match at the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, and this one has successfully tarnished the reputation of 2 successful tag teams of DX and the Brothers of Destruction. This match was scheduled as the main event the Crown Jewel pay-per-view, and we have to admit that seeing your favorite tag teams face off, most probably for the last time, has a certain flair, but it's better left off if they are incapable of putting up a basic match. Shawn Michaels came out of retirement to take part in the match, teaming up with the Game Triple H against The Undertaker and Kane. All the wrestlers present are undoubtedly one of the very best there was, and they have proved themselves time and time again, but this match was anything but okay. The whole match was a series of botches, the worst one probably being when Shawn hit Kane and his mask, along with his wig, fell off. The commentators screaming that Shawn Michaels hit Kane so hard that his mask fell off didn't help to save the situation. Another tragedy struck when the Big Red Machine threw Triple H out of the ring and the game injured his shoulder. He had to get surgery after the match was over. If you think that the WWE understood their mistake after this match, then you're wrong, as what we have for number 1 proves this point. Number 1. Undertaker vs. Goldberg Super Showdown 2019. The WWE receive a plethora of money from their shows hosted in Saudi Arabia, and as a result they are always pressured to put together the best shows possible. Since they are unable to create big drawing stars like before, they are forced to bring in retired wrestlers to garner attention. The match between The Undertaker and Goldberg came 10 years too late, both competitors being way past their prime. Although it is not surprising for wrestling veterans to return back for a match, but the way to do it correctly is to pit them off against another younger superstar as a way to elevate their career. But this match was merely meant to draw more money for the corporation. The match consisted of several failed spots, such as Goldberg failing to lift The Undertaker for a jackhammer and both crashing midway, which could have seriously hurt the dead man. The Undertaker's Tombstone 2 was way off the mark, while Goldberg's attempt of the same was worse. Overall, the match didn't do justice to the two legends and can be easily termed as their worst match ever. That's all for our video of the top 10 worst wrestling matches for top wrestlers. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like button, and for more such wrestling content, subscribe to our channel. We hope to see you again in our next video.